Summer boot camp. That's
It's
the
like
second half.
cake or death. Oh, the Galatian girls will do it for pearls, and the Arakeen for water. But if you desire dames like consuming flames, try Caladan and daughter.
Great. All right, Lily, read us in.
Wait, I want to do it.
Oh, okay.
Oh, do it. Fine.
Wait,
now
what
he
did I say?
shows up to the party.
Wait,
Here
I
we
don't know
go.
what to say. I don't know what to say.
Get off of my podcast.
Go, Lily. It's you.
Welcome, everybody, to another bi-weekly installment of Gum Jabber with the Mua'Dweebs. Here's my super excited intro, and let's get nerdy. How's that?
It's great. Introduce yourselves, folks. I'm Alec Boyle. Housekeeper.
Man, we
That's
live
it. That's all I'm
together, and
doing.
I would have never called you the housekeeper. Yeah, well, I'm still Josh Stevens. I'm not sure if let's skip me. Go to Lily.
What are you clicking on over there, man? What are you doing? You're having a click fest.
Oh, that was the problem. I was just
I'm Lily Brislin. I'm the token female, and I only read some parts of the book, so I'm excited.
I am Josh Stevens, and I think in every book club there's someone who didn't read everything they were supposed to read, so I'm that guy.
You're the worst. These 3 chapters are like 5 pages long total.
Yeah, I'm like 3 pages from the end of where I'm supposed to be.
All right, well,
That's
you're
real
going to have
close,
to
real close.
synopsize the 3rd chapter, so I look forward to your made-up description.
Oh, you don't want me to do any of this, but okay. Oh, actually, it's okay. I have your notes.
My notes are not that thorough. We are here because we're our way Frank Herbert's Dune chapters at a which apparently still happening. Anybody else profile?
Ooh, I read that.
you piece of human excrement.
Yeah, I was loving how everyone was going nuts over the gender swap.
Can we talk about
Yeah,
Let's talk about
I
it.
anticipated that being a large. Like again, this is probably going to be like last week, where we maybe touch on half of chapters very intermittently. Yeah, let's talk about the movie. Let's talk about Liet Kynes. You know, I just think that Liet Kynes' gender is so important ever. And
Well,
what that book
you should
what
give
the
your reason
movie-
why.
Well, it has a steady white man. It's just not the same story.
But wait, there are so many strong females in this movie already. Why do we need another one? I think that's what's.
Are we just gonna read shitty forum posts for the entire?
Oh my
episode?
gosh, we should. We definitely should.
I mean, that's pretty much what I did all evening last night instead of reading. So that's my excuse.
That's your expert.
I just
Yep.
appreciate that most of the argument why it's unacceptable are like a hashtag triggered token list. Like, there's no argument there, or I can't even think of what the other arguments, because it's mostly like, I don't like it. I'm a textualist. Like, I believe in a true exegesis of the Dune gospel.
No, so I saw the best response to that today, which I tagged Josh in with somebody. I don't care if it's an octave, which, right? Like, so many probably love the weirding mod. Do not remember part of the.
See, I don't remember that. This is why this is great for me. I'm like, I love Dune. I don't remember any of this shit. It's like falling in love all.
Well, and Josh did actually the last 2 days, or I guess it was just.
It was just yesterday,
Oh.
but it was a lot of yesterday.
How am I not seeing all of this? Okay, Josh, give
I
us the
tagged
highlights.
you.
Give us the play-by-play.
I tagged you. Did you not
I
use
know, but
Facebook?
I looked at the thread. I didn't see you weighing in. I didn't see you throwing punches.
Oh, I did. We went into this whole thing about how there was this one fan who was super all about the extended universe that was created by people other than Frank. And my point was just that if you've already got a not Frank that you're going to accept as canon, why can't this not Frank be accepted as canon as well? And that didn't.
God bless the internet.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited about the picture. I think Jason Momoa as Duncan.
Who is he?
Mhm.
Here's other reasons why I am terrible at this, and also if anyone actually listens to these things are just gonna hate me. Like, I don't remember actors' names. A fun game I used to play in college would be Lily, It's That Guy, where people would try to talk to me about. I was a theater major, right? Like,
Yeah,
I
it's
have
such an
no
ironic
excuse.
for an actor.
I know. Be like, Lily, it's that guy. So you're like running through how many.
So Game of Thrones, Khal Drogo.
Ooh, who's he?
He's Duncan, Idaho.
That's
Oh,
Jason.
no.
Yeah. Though I did like someone posted a picture of Stilgar side by side. Jason. I could see it. There was definitely a resemblance.
Yeah, but he's not really. I mean, he's not really old Chinese, right?
I don't know.
Zendaya
Looks pretty young. Photos.
Yeah.
I mean, isn't she playing a teenager?
Yeah. Yeah, I think. And he could have done it. All right.
Please don't do that. We need help.
Any other deep thoughts?
Are you talking to me?
Both of you.
There's a comment from the about how Dune as allegory, climate apocalypse, and like required adaptation. And sure, normally I would be all about like a heavy-handed climate change. Like I would want that. But then I thought, if Dune was always an environmental allegory, it doesn't.
Yeah, I read that quote, right? And it did. He was
Yeah.
reaching real deep on this extractive capitalism commentary. Books already got that covered, right?
Right, exactly.
You don't need to slap on an to make the book about the sand-covered place where they relevant extractive capitalism.
When did the OPEC oil embargo start? Early 70s?
Well, it was during the Carter,
Right? Yeah.
so that would have to be late 70s,
Oh, okay.
right? Carter's 70s, and I'm pretty sure, but maybe
73.
4s. Oh, so that would have been.
But
There's
still,
also a 79
this,
oil.
But this predates it. I was just reading about like the stockpiling and thinking about like
Oh, yeah.
market manipulation.
Yeah, well, I think that, right, speculative fiction, he was ahead of his time, and he concept, like, that was when people start about the fact that ran on, right? Like, I think a lot of people don't appreciate even going up until after Live Day, right? You probably had coal, but automation of the planet.
And not just that, but the intensification of agriculture that necessitated petroleum-ism, right? Like, that green revolution was petroleum-fueled and happened as a result of technology. Yeah. Sorry, Agner.
Yeah, no, I mean,
I feel like I didn't know.
At some point we'll find some better angle for talking.
If we don't mention the Haber-Bosch process at least once during this podcast, it will have been a failure.
Well, okay, so
you just did it. You just did it. You just succeeded. Self-fulfilling prophecy. Speaking of prophecy,
God, I peaked too. Yeah, let's transition. All right. Here, let's do the segment of we have to 30-second rundown where we actually the plot of what happens.
Okay.
Because like last time we never actually.
So I know that did you guys both read the first chapter? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so well, why doesn't one of you explain what happens? Read the quote and then explain.
I'm gonna do the second one.
Okay. Well then, Lily, it's on 5.
Okay, I'm gonna do my version of it, but it'll probably just be all 3 chapters. This is like drunken summaries with Dr. Brislin. Okay. You have read that I was gonna say Mua'Dweeb. Don't ruin me.
Cut that out. Let's do it again.
Nope.
You have read that Mua'Dweeb had no playmate on Caladan. The dangers were he did have Wonder Bunny Halleck. The troubadour will sing some of Granny's songs as we read along in this book. There was Thufir Hawat, the old Mentat master of assassins who struck fear into the heart of the Padishah Emperor. There was Duncan Idaho, the sword master of the Ginza, Dr. Wellington Yue, black and but bright in the Lady who guided her son in the Bene Gesserit, and of course, the Duke Leto, whose qualities as a father had long been overlooked. From A Child's History by the... There's so much here. There's so much here in just this quote.
Oh, well, tell me more.
Well, no. So here's my recap of what we read this week. Here's the short version. Parade of daddy father figure, the warrior, the scholar, the healer, all stern but encouraging in their affection, leading up to the entrance of the daddy. Stern and aloof and emotionally unavailable daddy who foretells all of the troubles and his terrible purpose.
You forgot to mention casually.
Oh,
literally every one of them except Yui comes in and has just like drops. But I think maybe I bring that up because I think I think Herbert meant to put that in there, especially look at chapter already, right? But Leto says a woman, right, and then that fierce tactician.
I also love like the parallels women as the enemy landed the terrible analytic mentality found.
Now, since we're all film fans, I think we should take a moment the fact that none of the
For later! That is the best!
Yeah, I don't know how it can be any hell if he's not carrying a... That's the real...
Thank you. I was actually thinking about that. I saw Patrick the side-by-side, the current cast and the past cast. I was like, A, never gonna top Patrick Stewart. B, where that pug at?
Yeah. Yeah, I like Brolin fine, but I do there's obviously Patrick Stewart.
Big bald energy. What's your version, Josh? He who did not read the chapters. You want to give us yours?
I read like 2.5 of them.
Okay.
Well, I listened to the first one. I read the second one. Really scanned through the third one. Here's the other excuse I'm going to give you guys. I ended up watching this fantastic video last night about the Dune video games and all of the problems that have led to the licenses going to hell. And apparently someone at the Herbert estate saying that old things should stay old and essentially not wanting to give the licensing back for anyone to make a new game, even though there is a company that's got the license from this movie to make games based on it.
Oh, okay.
But I guess the license for the real movie has expired. Mostly, so EA can't. So that happened for a while. I was really enjoying looking back at the old real-time strategy games, like your Dune 2 and Dune 2000, all your...
Yeah, I remember playing Dune, and I remember Impossible.
It was so good.
Or was it really hard?
I remember being really good, but I also loved those games so much.
What are these two different types of games? I don't play. You mentioned two different broad categories: Command and Conquer, and what was the other one?
Yeah, real-time strategy, which... explain that to a non-gamer.
Command & Conquer is a real-time strategy game. Real-time strategy games are, you look down an isometric bird's-eye view, a map of a battlefield, and you click on this tank, go over there, and you click on this Sardaukar, say, go shoot, and if you do that, the best.
But also, you've got your harvesters harvesting...
Yeah, there's an element
harvesting
of trying to
spice
about how you...
And your ornithopter.
Thanks. You just want to list all of them, Josh?
I'm sure this content is interesting. That's not me, but maybe we can move to the next topic.
Yeah.
So I think you guys nailed all the main points of these chapters here. I'm gonna just be in agreement with you about the introductions here for these fantastic characters to love, since we don't already know them well.
Can we please just call this episode Parade of Daddies? I would really like that.
Yes.
I agree. Parade of Daddies. Yeah. And then chapter 2 was really just a 5-minute conversation about why you shouldn't sit your back to it. So I really enjoyed
chapter
that.
1.
No,
chapter 2 is Yui gives him the Bible.
Oh, we learn he's treacherous. Black with treachery.
Yeah, I did think that was from a literary perspective. They don't make any bones about you.
Right.
There's no attempt to make us... my other note about him, overtly Caladan. Any non-Eric, just document. Right, the Bene Gesserit, the Bee Gees are a religious order, but they don't really buy their right to them, just prophecy. And they make no bones about that.
I'm trying to find that quote that his wife that got him.
I guess you're right. The first chapter was so long. I definitely thought that comparison.
Think the fact that a deaf person, then what deafness, what sense we lack? What is there around us that we cannot...
Stop it! You ain't barked!
Good. I'll edit the gap out. So.
My dead wife's favorite passage.
Her name, I'm just realizing, is his, or is that a typo? It says it again, late name was one.
Is this the first chapter we learn about the stirring in Paul's terrible purpose?
No, I feel like Paul felt a rumble at some point when he was talking to Gaius, right? Because she asked him about his...
He had a stirring in his terrible purpose.
Yeah, his terrible purpose.
If this episode isn't called Parade of Daddies, I want it to be thinly veiled dick metaphors.
Okay. I feel like there'll be lots of opportunities to call in it.
Okay.
Micro Dune Daddy.
Oh, Duncan.
Who's not here? Who does it? The one who's
off not
screen.
Duncan. Sorry, I mean Gurney. Gurney. In the Parade of Daddies,
Yeah. Duncan is part of that parade, right? He's literally absent father. That's an interesting literary thing, is that there's just
Gurney does sing a really, really nice tune here.
Little body. Have you made up a tune for it yet, Josh?
Do you care to put it to verse?
Yeah.
Put it to...
Yeah, should have.
We'll edit it back
From
in.
now on, all songs that appear, and I think there are at least a couple, you're on deck. Prepared.
You want to just like pick a tune and then I'll try to sing it to that tune?
Piano Man.
I don't think that fits the tempo of this buddy at all.
Well, I'm not the musical.
No,
You
why did I
asked the
ask you to
wrong-
do this? You're tone
you
deaf.
should have asked
Yeah.
Lily.
But it was really tempo.
I'm also.
Right.
Yeah, that's
not
true.
a term.
You can just send me a clip. We'll tack it on.
Well, we're gonna
Leave the
say
cold open.
I did it here. Not that I
Okay.
needed more time. You're gonna make me
Sure. Yes, I'll cut
Yeah.
all this out.
because it's gonna be terrible. It's gonna be terrible, and you can't make it look like I had all this time to make it that terrible.
Still all right. Well then, okay. So let's move on. Let's finish out the third chapter, and then I have a segment I think talk on full length.
Okay, I also have another something. I mean, the first of these 3 chapters was the best because I think the colonialist parallels discussed earlier are extended, but I'm starting to believe more in the nuance of Frank Herbert's vision of it, but maybe not. Maybe I'm giving him too much credit. But the difference between, I wrote in my marginalia, what is the difference in governing and ruling? And they kind of get into a little bit of a conversation of that, but maybe that's the big difference. And you start off thinking like, oh, this is an earnest interest in... No, I'm lying. It's like, without a ruler who knows the art of ruling, make that the science of your tradition.
Okay.
But the art of ruling is like the learning of the wise, the justice of the great, the prayers of the righteous, and the valor of the... But all of these things are as nothing. She closed her fingers into without a ruler who knows...
Right, when he's remembering his conversation with RG.
Yeah.
I do think it's... Go ahead.
The next page is... She asked me to tell her what it is to rule, Paul said, and I said that one commands, and she said I had some unlearning to do. And this is where it gets to your comments about the coffee, Alec, if you want to touch on those.
Oh, yeah, I just did think that was...
She said a ruler must learn to persuade and not to compel. She said he must lay the best coffee on the hearth to attract the finest.
Yeah, and that is because from analyzing, he clearly does crush more or less explicitly. Although it's right, like the Fremen fighters, Fedayeen, a word that a lot of us now know from, but I don't came out that word is part of any part of...
Probably not. When was Russia... This is like, Lily doesn't know history. When was Russia doing all its work in Afghanistan? Because a lot of this is like, I'm also wondering like how many Cold War parallels are happening here between... This was my other note. Like, now... I only want to read the Harkonnens in like a really bad Boris and Natasha Russian accent and see them as the other axis of this Cold War.
Well, we'll definitely have to do some of that. I feel like Soviet...
Depressing.
Yeah.
So, but which is to say this difference between...
79 to
They're only
89.
talking about rule. I'm interested in the difference in governing. And I think that there's his remembrance of his conversation. What did you call her?
I mean, that's fine too. RGM. It's RMGM,
RBG.
technically, right? Reverend Mother guy is...
We're just going to call her RBG.
Okay.
And so that she...
I was thinking the same thing after you were abbreviating.
I mean, if anyone in U.S. leadership...
I hope she has a cameo as an uncredited...
Oh, Alec. Now I want nothing more in this world.
Well, at the very least, it's a good Photoshop up.
Dibs, dweebiverse on the internet. You can't do it before us.
Do it right now.
So there might be an opening to be generous with old Frank to see what can be some like hard gender lines as an exploration of the blurring of them. So that what RBG is introducing to Paul by saying like you have to unlearn your notions of ruling as commanding, lay a good hearth, right? Be this sort of the feminine wiles, bringing feminine wiles to Kwisatz and his approach to it. So maybe there's more gender play here. Otherwise,
well, but also I think that's right. There's a moment there where Thufir, till that moment, totally dismissive, core misogynist kind of way, does say, "Oh, yeah, she kind of has a point, right? Like, oh, maybe these witches aren't just batty old crones after all. They have some nuggets, no doubt, in spite of." Yeah, no, I definitely think as I remember most of this gender. I also had a thing forgot about. I think that in a lot of ways has what I call Deadwood, right? It has all these characters, historic, right, in quotes, historically decided go with his world, but then each of them is realized motivation through the societal.
I love that that's Deadwood feminism.
Well, Deadwood's
That is super
right. Deadwood's probably the most shows ever.
I don't know about most feminist shows ever, but I'm going to explore that in a different podcast.
All right.
Well, that's a good segue to my favorite segment of this podcast, which is when worlds collide. And last time we talked about Star Trek and Dune, and these 3 chapters actually give me 2 other collisions, if you will.
Okay.
The first little tidbit
He's just
that
holding the
occurred to
book
me.
up in front of the camera so that we know that he has a book. He's got comic books held up inside there.
Shh.
Ooh, has there ever been a
Don't
good
tell them
comic
my
adaptation
secrets.
of Dune?
Google it.
Right.
I'm going to read a quote here on
Going.
page 38. On page 38, you'll learn about the funeral plains, she'd said, about the wilderness that is empty, the wasteland where nothing lives except the spice and the sandworms. And it got me thinking about the spice living there. I was like, is this like the spice's midi-chlorians sort of thing? Is the spice alive? And
That's
there's our
Does she-
first.
Yeah, no, but does she? Because that's amazing.
I read it to you.
Okay. Huh. No. I just want to read the exact wording, but that's it.
Top of page 38.
Spice, because I don't know if that's slip or right, because the spice it is alive in a way. I don't remember the
What is
exact.
midi-chlorine?
It's that new
I'm showing my hand.
treatment coronavirus.
Oh.
No, it's a thing
It's Star Wars. It's the
Oh,
Jedi.
you're joking! God damn it!
I nailed it.
These are
Uh,
dicks.
Chloroquine, I think, is Trump.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. You got her.
Fuckers. What is the thing? Star Wars something?
They're like supposed
It's the
to
Force.
be like mitochondria.
It's the living magic thingies that make you a Jedi. It's the Force.
God, I hate that I really am stepping fully into this role of like token female who
Not-
doesn't really appreciate nerddom on this podcast.
The not hard nerd. Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm soft butch and I'm soft nerd. And
I don't know.
man.
For soft nerd, you're pretty hardcore. I mean, it's just different aspects.
But I do
Yes,
want
and-
you to have that on a bonus card. Leather Brislett, soft butch, soft nerd.
yes, absolutely. And I keep thinking, you said whatever, and I was thinking microbiome and fecal transplants, and then all I can think about is sandworms and the spices fecal
Now
transplants for the macrobiome that is Arrakis.
Now you've got me going into Star Wars. Could you give powers via fecal?
I think if you believe hard
Supposedly.
enough.
Yeah. Nice. So what other connection did you have?
So the other connection was this fantastic quote right at the end of that first chapter on page 47, where Paul and Halleck are talking, and he says, "If wishes were fishes, we'd all cast nets." He murmured. It was his mother's expression, and he always used it when he felt the blackness of tomorrow on him. And that, of course, brings to mind one of the best quotes from Firefly, which is, "If wishes were horses, we'd all be eating steak." And so there's my Firefly Dune mashup for the week, and we can all ponder that.
I love it. I also love what a mooch Paul is, where he's just like, the blackness of tomorrow, the stirring of my terrible purpose. Like, he is such a 15-year-old, emo, privileged little D-bag.
I mean, let's be fair. He was pretty much just told by a woman who knows a heck of a lot about things that they're all doomed. I mean, he was just given some pretty bad news.
It's true. He didn't choose the goth life. The goth life chose him. Nice. And then
Could Firefly and this exist in this same universe? I guess.
yeah.
Yeah.
Firefly could literally, right? Firefly could
And I mean,
Grand
the voice
unified
is
theory.
definitely a Jedi power, so...
It is interesting,
Oh.
that, right? The RBG and Paul try to
Excuse me.
Yes.
It worked.
I see you've been practicing last.
It was
last
it was pretty
episode.
it was pretty good. It freaked me out. Couldn't tell.
Yes.
Yeah, he wondered why don't I tell him what that old woman said? How did she seal my tongue?
Yeah, and I just think it's interesting that
Which is
no-
weird.
Yeah.
How does he not know? I feel like he has a lot of insight about some of these things, I feel like he would instantly know. I feel like that line is only there to tell us
That there's something.
that this happened. I think
And
the
I'm not
real
mad at
Paul
it. Like,
would have
I need
known.
a little bit of guidance. There's a lot going on here. Like I didn't remember all this about the prison planet and the mercenaries. It's like, what?
Yeah, I'm really by her just putting people. I don't think that's how that plays.
And makes you wonder about old Frankie's daddy issues, because this concept is first introduced in the Parade of Daddies and is introduced by Duke Leto. Daddy love.
Yeah, that is interesting. And I guess this is happening in Vietnam. Father, probably everybody knew camp.
Oh, totally. Oh, good call, Alec.
Well, what if you made a boot camp?
What? Can you expand on that theory?
You've never heard of the booty or boot camp theory?
No.
Just that you go to boot camp for Super Bowl and you come out a soldier, and so his idea would be, oh, well, what if you be a soldier?
Aren't you saying? Were you not saying booty or boot camp?
To your.
I mean, I understood what you said the first time, but I'm really glad that
But
you
it
didn't.
wasn't
really.
made up nonsense, so I understand why Lily didn't.
Well, for
I thought
sure.
you were like, it's like, was it booty or boot camp? Like, either you're gonna get whipped into shape by pussy, or you're gonna get whipped into shape by the army. It's like Betty Jesuits or whatever. Like, well, that brings me to something I just on page 58, since my mind is the booty. His father praises him by way of saying that, but he's talking about how Gurney says something nice about him. The Duke. It's not even by his name. I figure Gurney to be sparse with his praise. He says you have a nicety of awareness, which is such an awkward phrase. A nicety of awareness, in his own words, of the difference between a blade's edge and its tip. Gurney says there's no artistry in killing with the tip, that it should be done with the edge. And then the Duke says, Gurney's a romantic. And my marginalia is just sort of like, ew, awkward.
Yeah.
So you guys really dropped the ball on this entire segment for me. Guys, I'm out.
Okay.
I didn't read the rest of what we were supposed to read anyway.
I really hope our other new segment is Josh quitting halfway through.
Well, you could fix that if you cut this segment to the end.
No, I'm going to cut it earlier, right?
So then I leave and come back?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just constantly
Without any...
resigning. All right, so we've been going for a little while. I had a segment I want to go over it real, and then we'll call it. But Doug Benson, this great podcast. One of the things he had for fan casting, you had to take a movie and recast it with the Muppet. And so I want to do Dune Muppet. Now the part of this also is usually leave one human actor there. But let me pull up my current. And then the problem is there's a couple problems, right? Is that there are not enough female Muppets, and there's not enough Muppets without getting real deets. But so I went for some slightly out of left field takes on this, but I'll read mine.
Whoa. Did you do any gender swapping though?
Very first casting decision, Miss Piggy.
Nailed it.
Harkonnen.
Yeah!
Nailed it.
That's it. We don't need to hear anymore, Alex.
But I had Sweetums as the Beast Raban and Animal as Fade, and I'm proud of that.
I was wondering where you're going to put Animal. Well, what'd you do with Kermit?
He's Duke Leto.
Okay.
You know who Duke
and
Leto
what
is?
about
that eagle that does the news segments?
No. Sam Eagle is the Emperor. Sam Eagle's the Emperor in my version.
And who's RMRBG?
I don't have one.
What about one of those old guys?
Oh, yes, they could totally be the Bene Gesserit. Just any time the Bene Gesserits show up, it's Statler and Waldorf.
I can't believe that you are replacing the super powerful intelligent with the heckling useless old men.
I had Pepe the Shrimp as Shutout Mapes.
And Fozzie?
Fozzie is Duncan, Idaho.
Huh. Who's Chani?
I don't have a Chani. I have Gonzo as Stilgar and the Fremen.
Oh, man. Okay.
And I had Bunsen Honeydew as Thufir Howat and Beaker as Piter. And Rizzo the Rat as Dr.
Oh, poor
And
Rizzo. It's just because he's a rat.
the most important one. Who's the Swedish chef?
Ooh, Ooh, I don't have this. We should this. I feel like his actual best role would also drip on.
I was thinking he can sing some bodies.
Oh.
He could be okay.
All right.
Yeah, I had Ralph as Gurney, but I like Swedish Chef as pretty good. I could see him carrying a pug and a fire.
Who's Ralph? Who do you have Ralph as?
Gurney Halleck, which is a little on the nose, right? The band leader, or he's not the band leader.
Wait, who did you say you made Sam the Eagle?
The Emperor.
Okay, yes, okay, perfect.
I think you pretty much nailed it, Alec.
Okay.
Coming in 2022.
Coming to Muppet Dune.
Muppet Dune.
Oh, but then I sent it to you guys on Facebook. I don't know if you saw it, but somebody did a bunch of the Muppets situation.
What? You didn't send me any of this.
Oh, AI did. I'll resend it. But the best part of it, it's actually
my God.
My cover photo right now is a sandworm, but it has animal.
I did see that.
Yeah.
Did you cast Janice the Muppet?
No. The problem is that, like, yes, you can make Janice Chani, right? But then you just feel like an asshole. It's like, oh, I had another role. So the Muppets really need to.
What if she's the sister?
What if she's Lady Jessica?
Ilia?
Or Rowan? Or St. Alia?
Oh, Alia.
Yeah.
Oh, I could see
Of
Jessica
the knife.
being like, wait for my brother, Baron. Like,
Yes!
wait for my brother.
You meant Janice, but yeah.
Yeah, what did I say?
Jessica, which makes sense.
Oh, yep. I'm going to edit that out.
No, you're not. Because now you'd have to
Wait,
edit
did
out
you
all the
guys-
things that I say about you making a mistake, too. And that's just going to be...
Did you guys ever pick who you would pick as your daddy in Native Daddies, or did I dished and then y'all did it?
Yeah, we kind of just go.
I'd take whoever you cast Bunsen at.
Oh, I was going to say also, I think is kind of the easy answer. He's by far the most pleasant for
Yeah,
daddies.
for sure.
So, right, like, nobody wants, like, he's kind of an
And Yui, I mean,
Yui is described as having a long pony, so...
good dad characteristics there.
Yeah, and then all the...
I'm not saying dad.
Oh, well, again, definitely Gurney Halleck. I could see how one might choose...
You're not a Duke's boy.
No, give me the...
Nice. As long as we're...
Yeah. Anybody have any other insights?
I think I did. Hold on.
Okay. And I promise I will tomorrow.
Okay,
More of a
so
push.
I wanted to talk about how vulgar CHOAM is.
That, yeah. You know, I had not put my finger on it, but I don't think there's really anything else to say about it. That is a nasty word. Yeah.
One sentence segment. Nailed it, John.
Hey, I don't
guess
have
it
to
is-
read this book.
It is funny that Duke, like, the whole Duke chapter of discussing the tip and CHOAM.
Well,
Wow. All right, well,
I've
you
done my
shut that
job.
down. Well, thank
Perfect.
you everyone for listening to Gom Jabber with Mua'Dweebs Parade of Daddies. We'll be back again in 2 weeks. You can find us on all your favorite major podcasting apps. If you reach out to us directly, personal contacts or projects.
I really invite that into You can find me at Token Nerd Female on Twitter.
I'm gonna buy you that Twitter, Lily.
yeah, I thought I got us an email address. I just don't remember what I did with it.
Do that. Don't come for me lest I send. I'll be right here in the podcast. That's it.
Yeah, you can contact us at the gomjabberpodcast@gmail.com.
Nice. And
Just point of reference, y'all didn't read the other. Keep that.
I love the idea that every week we say we're gonna do it and we partially do it and then never succeed.
You know, I said I was going to do the second one, and then I looked at the second one, realized... Well, you told me that I was thinking about the wrong chapter, and then if you actually look at what is said in the second one, half of it is numbers and gibberish. But also, does that make her Wanna Wellington?
Yes, it does.